Welcome. You're listening to the Rutten River Pursuits podcast. Join our epic pro staff around the Sonic Campfire for stories and adventures from our eastern mountains to the Chesapeake Salt. Let our highs and lows inspire you to take to the outdoors.
All right. Hey, guys, this is Ryan, and you are listening to the Rutten River Pursuit podcast. Y'all know me. I'm the newest guy to the table anyway. What we're going to do now is go around the table, see who we got joining us here tonight. You guys are in store for a fantastic episode. Who we got to my left here?
I'm Will.
And I'm Sean.
Sammy P.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Kyle.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Awesome.
Pretty good. Glad to be here tonight.
How are you, Ryan?
I'm good, buddy. I'm excited.
Me too.
Super excited.
About what?
We're going to be getting Carrie Zylka on the line.
Get out.
You guys ruined the
Carrie Zylka.
What?
Should I not said that?
No. Do you have? Hopefully you have her number because
Somebody look it up quick.
Phil, look it up.
I got her number. Just don't tell my wife I
We
got her
have,
number.
we have our tech guy looking it up.
perfect.
Yeah, we actually have a tech guy tonight.
Yeah. This is great.
What's new, guys?
So I have some new stuff. Out of kind of like nowhere, the Instagram just started blowing up.
That exploded, didn't it?
Well, just to clarify, it wasn't necessarily out of nowhere. Not long after that pretty major announcement we had last week about the new team. I'm just guessing maybe that might have had something to do with it, but go on. You were saying.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. That would definitely influence a lot more people to hit up the Instagram in particular.
Absolutely.
You kept making all these promises of these people you were going to shout out to on the next podcast, right? I'm seeing this thinking, man, Will's going to be busy. We're going to do a whole podcast on nothing but shout outs.
Shout outs here. Yeah.
Well, he's got to make a rap for it.
I might as well get right into it and then we
who
can
do you
talk
got?
about it later.
Hold out
Yeah.
there.
So,
Who are our new Instagram friends?
brand new Instagram friends. Some of them are old, some of them are new. A bunch of them are new, but CB Fitness Massage just really took our friendship to the next level and liked everything, pretty much every picture in the last 2 months. And that inspired Mark Spagnola from Dust to Dawn to show his allegiance.
You called him out, right?
Yeah, bless his heart. He really, I wish you could see this. He really likes us. And then we got Allie Sanger, and she has been liking it ever since, all week this week.
Cool.
Dalton_hunting. Super dude. Mr. Starts with a Vision. Pushing Water Kayak Charters.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it does sound fun.
We need to be more more friendly with that dude, right?
Yeah.
Kidding.
Gump 1243.
Uh-oh.
Like Forrest.
Gumps in town.
Hunter_0227. WDW pod. So it's I can't remember. I have to look that up. WWDW pod. B period Schultz. SHULTZ 97.
B. Schultz.
B Schultz.
Shout out.
Dying Scene Radio. They have a podcast. And Yarg, YARG _Trebor, TETREBOR.
He's from Sweden.
He must
be.
Yeah.
Sounds French.
Our international.
And good guys we met at the outdoor show, the Snow Master USA, SNO Master USA.
Yeah.
Liking it up.
Lacey did the Facebook Live with him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Goizueta. Oh, I'm sorry, Chris.
Or Caesar.
It's Chris, like GOYZUETA. GP calls, chimed in, came in hard. We even got I mean, we even got Adam Carolla to
Wasn't that something? That was crazy. Adam Carolla.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, Adam, how's it going?
He's really fired up about his shout out on our podcast.
We'll throw him a bone.
But he earned it. He earned it just like
everybody else.
The big question I've been wondering: how are we going to take it to the next level with Levison Innovations?
They need everything. They're getting toboggans and all kinds of stuff.
Jeez.
Oh, man.
They're relentless over there. So
I got something new. It's great that we have Sean in here tonight because I got a question for Sean, but a little background history of it. So Deeper started sharing some of our pictures, and one of them happened to be a rainbow trout that we caught through the ice a couple weeks ago. And actually, it was in January, but anyways, the trout around here in lakes, when it gets cold, their color changes. And when people see a rainbow, they're used to seeing a silver trout with a pink stripe down it. And so Deeper posts this, Rutten River Pursuits podcast caught a rainbow trout. And man, the fish ID police came out.
what?
Oh, it was bad. And you ever been so sure of something and then people start jamming at you and make you change your mind? So these people are just, it's not a rainbow, that's a brownie. That's no rainbow, that's a brown. 90% of these folks were trashing us. And
Trashing.
Well, I took it personal because I'm the one that said it. Told those guys what it was. And it's one guy is, how can you follow game laws if you can't identify fish? Man, that guy's pretty serious. Anyways, so I'm starting to get nervous. I've only been catching trout for 30 years. I don't know I'm IDing them right or So I have to I text this picture to Sean and say, dude, is this really a rainbow? And he confirmed it. But while Sean's here, if you could just give a quick 30-second ID primer on how to identify the three main types of trout that we catch.
It's spawning season. That's why it's not the silver color. The trout this time of year will get a deeper, darker color, especially with the colder water too. But with the rainbow, you're looking for a greenback, that bright red stripe down the side, which that fish had.
Yes,
definitely had. A brown trout does not have a red stripe down the side, and it's covered with spots, and it's just spots. Black spots. A brown trout, the spots on it will be black, but there'll actually be three colors. It'll be a black circle with a white ring. Well, actually, if you're painting it as a taxidermist, you put a white ring down. Inside that, you put a burnt sienna brown ring with a black spot inside of it. And most of the black spots will have white rings around them. So that was by no means a brown trout. That was a rainbow trout, 100%.
There you go, folks. If you got a problem with it,
Talk to your taxidermist.
talk to your taxidermist.
Sean, did he give you the money to say that?
No, he did not.
Okay. I just making sure you weren't paid off.
No. Anybody got anything else cool?
Speaking of fishing stories.
Oh, yeah. You got a good one, Bob, don't you?
The perch are starting to spawn big time. We went out down in Maryland this past weekend down the Tuckahoe River and caught 100
It's like
fish.
the worst name for a river.
Hey, I don't name the rivers, man. I just fish them.
So, was it like Philly, south of Philly?
No, it's Maryland.
Oh,
Eastern Shore.
gotcha.
So, yeah. But it was awesome. Over 2 days, we caught right around 100 keepers, and then all the ones we threw back, and we probably caught almost 500 fish.
You guys hammered them.
Oh, we killed it. And we kept probably maybe 75, 100 of them, and we had like a big fish fry the one night. It was a good time. But, yeah, fishing's definitely starting to heat up overall.
Awesome.
Cool.
The pictures were phenomenal.
They were cool.
Good stuff.
My buddy was so excited about the one with the fish out of the water.
No, they were great. Made us jealous for sure. Can't be there, make us jealous.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying, if we can't be there, do everything you can to make us jealous. Awesome.
And we got all kinds of fishing stories, hunting stories. I'll tell you what I like to really do is travel.
Yeah.
You know what we ought to do?
What?
We ought to talk to somebody who is an expert
Yeah.
at all three of those things.
But
man.
where would we find somebody like
Somebody who knows hunting, fishing and traveling?
Yeah.
Boy, if only there was a podcast called Hunt, Fish, Travel. Wait a second.
Do we have her on the line? Do we have get the producer rolling here?
We have her on the line, guys. She's on the line for you.
All right, Carrie. So, anyway, Carrie, you now that we got you on the line.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
No problem at all. Thank you for being here. We appreciate the time. Why don't you go ahead and just give everybody just a quick little background, if you could. You know, how you got started in the industry. And
that can't be a quick little...
No.
I know. I'll give you the nickel tour because the story is long and convoluted and goes every which way but the right way. Well, and so because I started in the industry as a blogger for Bowcast. I don't know what your age demographics are. Do you guys even remember Bowcast?
You know what? I was going to talk to you about this after the show.
Because you guys are young, aren't you?
No. I actually started, when I started back into archery after a long hiatus, Bowcast was one of the first things that was there for me besides Uncle Catfish.
Yep.
And
seriously.
And so I started putting 2 and 2 together. I'm like, that's Carrie Z.
I know.
And I guess, do you go by Carrie Z very much?
Yeah, pretty much, because nobody can ever pronounce my last name. I was very impressed that you guys pronounced it correctly.
I totally just dawned on me that was you from Bowcast. So
back in the day.
I was actually I ran into the boys, the original cast. Yeah. And at the first time I met them at the Harrisburg show here, and they were at Waddell's booth, and then they actually mentioned us on the show. So
great.
My wife and I. So. Yeah, it was fun. That's my little
good group of guys.
Yeah, that's my Bowcast experience. Nice. But I listen every week. I love those guys. They
got me totally purely by accident because I wanted to get into bow hunting. My dad and I were always big rifle hunters here in Wisconsin. Got out of the Navy. My dad and I reconnected. We did some rifle hunting, and I was like, this kind of sucks. I kind of want to get into bow hunting. And I was already listening to podcasts. The very first podcast I ever listened to was the Up North Journal, who is still to this day in production, and they recommended the Bowcast forums. So I was over there, and I kind of to be honest with you, I sent them a really snotty email because all they had were these hoodies, and I really wanted a T-shirt or something. And I was annoyed. I was so girly annoyed. Yeah. So I sent them this email and was like, you guys suck. And they were like, what the hell? Who are you? Oh, and What's your story?
Yeah, no, you have a right to do that. Anthony's a big clothing designer. He should have all the cool stuff.
All you have are Bowcast hoodies. You don't even have a T-shirt. I wanted to wear it at the Deer and Turkey Expo. And I was like, I'll die of heat exhaustion. So back then... So they called me up and they were like, what is your story? And I was like, I'm getting into bow hunting, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, well, why don't you blog for us and blog about your journey of making the transition from a rifle hunter into a bow hunter? And I was like, well, that sounds great. And then they went through this big restructuring and I started helping with the podcast side of things. So that was back in 08, 09, 10, 2010, somewhere in there. And then after a while, they were a Western hunting podcast. I mean, I'm in Wisconsin. What the hell do I know about elk and mule deer? But
that's our hang up too. There's we got to make the PA sexy again. Yeah,
exactly.
They got all the fun stuff out there.
Yeah, so I ended up leaving and just going off and doing my own thing and started Hunt, Fish, Travel. I am the first and longest running female-hosted hunting podcast. I was the only female-hosting hunting podcast for 3 years. I'm actually coming up on my 5-year anniversary here in May.
Hey, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
How many? You're about 150 episodes now, right, Carrie?
Well, I've produced over 300. I have only numbered 151. Yeah.
Jeez.
Wow. I know. Well, because I didn't number all the live, you do the on-the-spot interviews and stuff, and So, and all my quick tips and stuff, I didn't number them. So I've actually got about 325 of them recorded and posted just for this podcast, not my other podcasts.
Right. Do you factor the other podcast in as well?
No. No. That's another
monster.
Another twist in the road that you were talking about.
Yeah, because I just love to podcast. I can't help myself. It's an addiction. You guys know.
We are we're very addicted at this point. Afflicted.
I've got about 150 episodes total with the other 3 podcasts, non-hunting podcasts.
Wow.
Ryan's got he's got the most experience. He's got 3 years.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Any podcast that makes it more than a year, to me, you're doing damn good.
Legit.
Oh, man.
Well, we're far from legit, but one day.
No, you guys are doing great. I really like you guys. I mean, in the hunting industry, podcasts pop up every 3 weeks. A new show is coming out, and you guys do a really good job. You guys have caught my interest. So,
wow,
thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That's quite the compliment.
So where are you from, Carrie?
I am from Wisconsin. I live in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
Yes, the land of Pepsi, Blue Ribbon, and cheese curds.
That's Algonquin, I heard.
What does that mean?
It stands for the good land.
The good land?
Oh my God.
Yes, Pete, it is.
Aren't you the walking Wikipedia?
No, I watched. That was from Wayne's World.
I know.
That was Alice Cooper.
We're not worthy.
I know.
We suck.
Gosh.
Well, we got a quick little nickel tour, like you said there, some background, but I'd actually like to go just a touch deeper, if we could. Like, first of all, you had mentioned earlier about being in the Navy, so definitely thank you for your service.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
It was an honor to serve.
I'd like to just get a quick background on growing up in Michigan, or I'm sorry, in Wisconsin, where you're growing up. What got you going in the outdoors? What was that start like?
My dad was he was the typical great white hunter. He deer hunted, he everything hunted. He loved to fish. My sister and I, we grew up in the inner city of Milwaukee. My dad worked for the city, so we had to live in the city. But they had a camper and a bayliner, so every weekend we were camping somewhere, or boating, or shed hunting, or coyote hunting, or whatever it was. We were always doing something outside. So my dad really, really, really wanted a firstborn son. He really did. And he did not get one. He really did. He got 2 daughters. So I kind of just filled in that role, which I loved. I love being outside. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. As long as it's outside, I'm happy.
It's pretty easy to camp there. I did some mountain biking up there, and I just remember just the trees being so tall and so straight. And I know that it varies, the terrain and all that, but just I lived in North Dakota for a little bit, and we made our way to Wisconsin and through Minnesota mountain biking.
That's awesome. That's quite the trek.
Yeah. I was on a trek.
Yeah, Wisconsin is, we have every resource you can possibly want for. And, we have the Wisconsin River, the hardest working river in the world, and the Mississippi River, and we've got the Great Northwoods, but then we have all the water parks and the great campgrounds, and it's cheap to camp here and hunt here and fish here. It's cheap. So.
Everybody's got a lake cabin somewhere.
Yes, exactly.
That's epic.
So, Carrie, you grew up hunting and fishing, and then you went back into the Navy. How did you basically get back into it once you were done your service? Was it pretty much you jumped right back into it, or did you kind of have a lull period where something sparked your interest right back into it again?
When I got back, my dad and I, we just kind of drifted, you're thousands of miles away from home. You kind of drift away from family. So my dad and I, we just drifted away. And then when I came back, we just started slowly reestablishing that relationship again. And we were just going deer hunting during the 9-day gun season. Mm-hmm. And then just every year it was a little bit more. And then we went the next year we'd go for the 9-day gun season and the doe season too. And then the year after that we'd go, whatever. And then when I started really getting into the bow hunting stuff, my dad does not bow hunt. He has no interest in it whatsoever. So he is a gun hunter. He likes his rifles. He likes his guns. He's into blacksmithing or gunsmithing, I mean. So unfortunately, I kind of went off on my own path that way too. So we're not as close as we used to be, but I still attribute him for getting me back into it without him calling me up and saying, hey, I'm going to go up north this weekend. Do you want to come? And me saying, well, yeah, I guess so. And I think it was like 3 or 4 years after I got out of the Navy that the first time we went again. Because that was, when I joined the Navy at 17, I was super young. Wow. So when I got out, I was still super young. And I was more interested in dating and getting married, and I married a very non-hunting husband. So
oh, wow.
There was that challenge. Yeah. So it was like a very gradual thing.
Carrie, you mentioned that you grew up hunting, primarily with guns. What caused you to want to make that transition to bow hunting?
So a really stupid reason. So I was like, I'm freezing to death out here in Wisconsin in November. I should take up bow hunting because I'll be able to hunt in September.
Not stupid at all.
Yeah.
Well, but now I hunt late season. Always, every year. I hunt late season because I'm really busy until October. So now instead of freezing for 9 days, I freeze for 3 months.
Yeah, makes sense.
How hard was in Wisconsin? How hard was the transition going from rifle hunting to bow hunting? I know I've hunted in Wisconsin. I have a friend that's a pastor in Oshkosh, and I went out and hunted with him. And for me, it was a total change going out there. I'm used to here in Pennsylvania. We got the big high rolling mountains. I always hiked to the top of it and sit there and shot a deer. Well, there's no mountain to hike to the top of around his place, so it was a big change for me. How big of a change was it for you knowing, like, I don't know how your hunting style is there, but around Oshkosh, there's a 5-acre patch of woods in the middle of a 100-acre field, and there's another 5-acre patch of woods down the road, and they just ran between those patches of woods. Is that?
Yeah, totally. It is. It's very different because obviously you have to get so much closer, and everything up here is, like you said, you hunt these little timber patches, and everything's so freaking dense. And we've always hunted public land. We've never owned our own land. It's always been public. And I love hunting public, which adds an entirely, an extra chapter of ridiculous to how hard it is. Where with a gun, you can go out and you can find some open fields and take that 250-yard shot, no problem. But then making that transition to bow hunting where you got to get them within 35 yards, it's really a challenge. And me, as a girl, and I'm not playing the girl card because obviously I'm not that girl, but I don't have the upper body strength that a guy does. So when I go and try to, because you can't leave them out overnight, so when I go and try to take a portable stand out there, it's a hot mess. I'm like, scent prevention is just a no-go because I'm fighting with it at 4 o'clock in the morning in the dark by myself. And usually lots of cursing, lots of sweating, and then I'm like, this is stupid. So where, with a rifle, you can sit up on a hill and have a 500-yard shot.
I remember when I was out there hunting, one of the funny things that caught my eye driving down the road during season was a tree stand out there. It's not really a tree stand. It's 3 hay bales in a circle, and you stand in the middle of it.
Right. There is that, yes.
Yep.
So it was quite the transition. It was a challenge for many years. Well, still.
How was your archery season this past year?
This year sucked so bad. I hunted Wisconsin and Illinois this past year, and I just completely struck out in Wisconsin. I didn't even see anything. In Illinois, though, my best friend Rob Sharkey is an outfitter down there with Sharkey Outfitters in Bradford County. So I went down there for a week. And he's got awesome deer, just awesome deer. Biggest deer I've ever seen. And, of course, beautiful 10-pointer comes walking all slowly out like, hey, baby, you could shoot at me. And I freaking missed. Not once, but twice did I miss.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a cardinal sin.
Right? And I'm like, okay, at $15 an arrow, maybe I won't take that third shot because obviously I'm having issues. You know? And that deer just kind of moseyed on away. And I was like, but it was still fun. You know, half the battle is seeing them.
Absolutely. So, Carrie, I know. Obviously, you hunt Wisconsin, and you said Illinois. Do you have? Do you typically like try and plan a trip a year to try and go somewhere outside of your, traditional areas, or what do you usually do for that?
I do. Last year, usually Illinois or South Dakota for mule deer. I've gone there twice, and I do a lot of turkey hunting out of state because it's less expensive and it's a little easier. You don't have to do so much of the pre-scouting. Mm-hmm. It's just easier to go turkey hunting out of state. And I have a hard time. I mean, even though I still go down there, I have a hard time paying $350 for a whitetail tag when I live in Wisconsin. Yeah. It's different when you're paying that much money for a mule deer tag that you can't hunt in Wisconsin.
Absolutely. Yep.
What's your... go ahead.
Do you guys do a lot of out-of-state hunting?
Not as much as we'd like to. We usually plan. Some of us plan like one big trip a year, and it really varies. This year we're going to Florida for peacock bass, but hunting, as far as it really varies. Sammy's going out to Wyoming for antelope.
Nice.
So that means if my wife listens to this trip, she now knows we're going to Florida.
Oh no!
Cat's out of the bag. Watch out.
She couldn't not assume that you were going with me.
That's true. He was only looking at you. She couldn't hear that.
Yeah. Just threw yourself
but now
under
she
the
knows.
So, we're kind of all over the place, but the bulk of the hunting is in the state of PA.
Yeah.
Short story.
Yeah,
short story long.
Yeah. You guys have great deer there, though.
Oh, yeah. They're getting better all the time.
Certainly.
With our restriction and all that stuff, yeah.
We definitely have similar issues, though, like you guys have to deal with out there with the whole Orange Army deal. Once that rifle season kicks in,
all bets are off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't.
It is tough.
You don't have to go to a pumpkin patch to get a pumpkin. You can just go out in the middle of first day of rifle and pick one out.
It's funny too. That is one of the best benefits about being a bow hunter, though, because you're right. You can go, especially opening day. You walk out there and you can't go 25 yards without bumping into a guy in full bleed orange, especially on public land, of course.
Yep.
Bow hunting, I'll go out on a Saturday and I will see no one. And around Milwaukee, not far from the city, and I'll see no one except for the occasional hiker. It's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Why do you think that is, Carrie? Is it just not the just popularity-wise? It's just not there, or is
pure laziness?
Specific?
No, it's pure laziness.
Is it?
I 100% believe it's pure laziness. It's a lot easier to pick up a rifle.
At least you're honest.
Yeah.
It is. Bow hunting's hard. You guys know. It's not like you can just pick it up and walk out the door like you can with a rifle.
Well, some people like to think they can with a crossbow.
I'm starting to see an uptick now in the hunter population going out there in archery season because of the crossbow.
Yeah.
I work part-time at an archery shop, and I sell a lot more crossbows than I sell compounds. Certainly a lot more than I sell longbows and recurves too. But
sure.
It's definitely gaining popularity, so I'm starting to see more and more people showing up. But to go hand in hand with what you said, though, Carrie, it is pure laziness because all I got to do is go, more than 100 yards from the parking lot, and I'm good. I won't run into anybody after that.
Yeah. Now, Carrie,
exactly?
I know PA crossbows used to be basically you had to have a doctor's note to operate one. Is Wisconsin pretty much fair game? Anybody can use a crossbow out there? Or?
It is. A couple years ago, it used to be the same. You either had to be over 65 or disabled to get one. And
Okay.
a couple years ago, they changed that. So now it's just an additional license. Like you buy an archery license, and you buy a crossbow license, and you buy a rifle license.
Oh, wow.
So you have to have a crossbow tag as well, huh? It's separate
Yeah.
from the standard archery.
Yes.
Don't be saying that too loud. DA's gonna hear that and
Give them an idea to
There we go.
for
There's
that
another
one.
$15. Yeah.
Yeah, some way they can make
know.
money. But,
That's great.
got a question for you. What's your favorite type of animal you like to hunt?
Oh,
Hands down, turkey is my all-time favorite. Followed very, very, very closely by whitetail. Probably because I'm a better turkey hunter than I am a whitetail hunter.
That's
the
awesome.
truth. I've killed way more many turkeys than I have deer.
That's great.
But they're more fun to chase. They're more interactive. You can chase them. You can literally chase after them. Where deer, that's not happening.
Well, and that's something to your credit too, because I think, in my opinion, of course, but I think it takes a better hunter to be proficient at turkey hunting, because there's a lot more. I'm already getting some dirty looks around, but it takes, in my opinion, there's a lot more luck involved when it comes to whitetails, especially if we're talking public land too. You can pattern a deer all day long, but all he needs to do is get bumped by somebody the night before, and he's in a different county. So, you can't chase him like you do the turkey. I think it takes a little bit more tactics when it comes to turkey hunting. So, it's to your credit.
Thanks.
Now-
I love chasing. I'd chase turkeys all day long. Oh my gosh.
Now, being from Wisconsin, did you ever shoot one of them cranes?
No, I don't think we have a season here yet.
Oh, you
I know
didn't get it
some
there yet?
states do.
Yeah, I remember that was one of the things we ran into a couple in the field when we were deer hunting, and that was the wildest thing, the noise they make. And
I freaking hate them. They're so obnoxious. Those flying pterodactyls, they scare the bejesus out of me every time. Oh, I hate them things.
never being around one, it was pretty cool on my end, but it was crazy hearing.
What sound do they make? I've never.
We'll have to get Shickley on that one.
It does. The sound that they make, it just... And because they're so loud.
Yes.
You jump right out of your skin.
Yep. And then they're so big, too.
Yeah.
We're talking like a 5-foot bird or something like that.
Yeah.
Like Catfish's goose. Uncle Catfish shot a monster goose that just easily doubled the size of a regular goose last year. So we've always referred to that as.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was a team effort. It was a big, big bird.
That's awesome.
So we like to use stories a lot of times to talk about hunting and fishing. Do you have any interesting hunting stories you could share with us? Or I'm sure you do, but would you mind sharing
Do you have a
a good hunting story with us?
My all-time favorite story to tell is my Kansas Hail Mary turkey hunt, because it really was shenanigans, just shenanigans.
did you say shenanigans?
It was shenanigans, but it was like the best kind of shenanigans because it was so fun. So I'll make it super quick. In 2000, I think it was 14 or 15, I was in Kansas for a media event, the Aglow Cast and Blast. And so the media person is paired up with a corporate person. I was there with Trent Marsh. And for 2 days, we hunted these damn turkeys, and we saw them all the time, but it poured on us the whole time. And I mean thunderstorms. And those turkeys wanted to come to our decoy. It was so bad, but it was just raining too hard. So 2 days we hunted our butts off and just didn't come home with a turkey. So I was actually not flying out until noon on Friday. So everybody had gone. Everybody went home either Friday morning or Thursday night. And I was there by myself in this hotel. And we had received permission to hunt on an old armory ammunition depot. And I was like, well, I'm still here. Is it okay if I go over there? And they're like, yeah, that's fine. So I went there, and I got up, and I didn't estimate the time right. So I was running like 15 minutes behind. So I'm like racing. It's about 20-minute drive from the hotel, and I'm racing to the Armory Depot. And the lady at the gate is like, "Oh, are you here to still turkey hunt?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Are you by yourself?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Okay, well, you go, girl. You go get one." And I'm like, "Okay." Like girly high five. So by this time, like the sun's starting to come up, and I'm like, son of a gun. So I'm like racing in my little like Fiat or whatever rental car, and I'm like down these abandoned roads. There's all these like abandoned train cars. It's because it's an old railroad depot. So I pull over, and it was like I swear to God, it was like something out of the movies where you like skid the car into the parking spot and you like jump around, you guys grab your gun, and you're like running at top speed across this field because the sun is coming up and you can hear them gobbling. Yeah. They're like, no, don't come out now. Don't come down now. So I get set up, and I'm positive I know exactly where they're going to come down and where they're heading. And those buggers came down and headed completely the opposite way. So I'm like, oh, this sucks. So there's
So far, it sounds like every morning I've ever been turkey hunting, but go on.
I know, right? Seriously. So I know, and I'm sitting there, and like a coyote came out and all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, that's great, good for you, but I'm really here for the turkeys. So where I'm sitting, there's a long train track and about 15 old abandoned train cars on this track. So I'm like, all right, well, let me go and see if I can find them. So I get up and I move over by the cars, and I'm like, I don't see them in the far field. I don't see them. And I'm walking and I'm peeking between the cars, and I don't see them. And then I saw them. And then I was like, holy crap, they're right there. And I mean, they were like right there. And then those turkeys were like, who the hell are you? We're out. They take off. And I'm like, this is not happening. So I turn, and I am running at top speed to try to get around to the far side of the field to try and cut them off.
Lady at the gate should have told you we weren't here.
I know, right? And I'm running, and I can see them in the field, and they've kind of slowed down or whatever, and they're several hundred yards away. So I'm like, oh, they can't see me. So and I'm out of breath, and I'm like, I'll peek around this tree and see if I can see where they are. And I peeked, and they must have been 400 or 500 yards, and them little buggers totally saw me peeking around that tree. So they turned around and they went racing back towards the train car. So I'm like, no. So I turned, and I went running back towards that car on the other side, and they stopped underneath this tree. And I didn't know where they were, so I'm trying to find them, and I'm looking underneath the car tracks and stuff, and I'm not seeing them. And I'm, like, exhausted, and I'm covered in sweat, and I'm like, this is stupid. Why do I do this? So then I peek around, and I see them, and there's, like, 4 strutters, and they're, like, 60 yards away. Oh. And I don't think I must have given myself whiplash, because I jerked my head back so fast it wasn't even funny. And I'm like, all right, they're right there. I could get them. I can get them. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to be sneaky. And I like stripped down to just the bare camo and my gun. And I'm like, I'm going to crawl underneath this train track, and I'm going to find these.
That's an out west technique where they just get naked, kind of. We don't do that here. Sneak up on things.
Like, I know. And I'm like, I'm going to sneak up on these little buggers. I'm going to be Billy Badass. You watch. So I'm like crawling underneath this train car over the tracks. Like, there's potato bugs, and it's been raining, so there's spiders everywhere. It's like, oh, why do I do this to myself? But I'm crawling, and then there's like this little ditch, and then this rise, and they're just over that rise on the other side of the ditch. And I swear to you, every 6 inches I moved, a head would pop up and look. And then positive they knew I was there. Positive. It took me like 2 hours to crawl 15 yards. I swear to you, every time I moved a couple inches, 2 heads would pop up. Because there was these 4 strutters, and there must have been 25 hens with them.
Oh, my goodness.
So,
and they were like, it's Carrie Z.
Can we have your autograph?
They're like, there's something moving in that grass. I'm not really sure what it is. And I'm like crawling through the gross water. It sucked so bad. Oh. But I got close enough that I saw the boss Tom, and I was like, your ass is mine. Took that shot, and he was down, like just dropped. I bet you it was 10 yards.
Nice.
It was awesome. It was so fun. It was so fun.
Epic story.
Yeah, that's my favorite story to tell because it was so fun.
Did you show the throw it out at the window at the lady at the gate?
I know, right? As I drive by holding it up, check it out.
You go, sister.
Right? It was such a fun trip. I love turkey hunting. You can't do that with deer.
No.
Not whitetails anyway.
Yeah.
Not PA whitetails.
Right.
Especially not PA whitetails.
I know.
You can if they're in a pen for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But tell us some about that fishing portion of your show.
The fishing portion. Yeah, well, I do a lot of ice fishing. But my show's very cyclical. Like, there's a lot of turkey hunting, and then a lot of camping, and then a lot of deer hunting, and then a lot of ice fishing or sturgeon spearing.
Yeah.
I got to hear about that, Carrie. I remember I don't remember when your podcast was, but I remember while I was cutting the grass, listening to you. So it had to be summer, but it was listening to your episode on sturgeon spearing, and man, that really caught my interest. That sounds pretty incredible.
You guys have to come next year. It is so much fun. I mean, nobody ever really spears a sturgeon, but it's just so much fun. It's pretty. So we're the only place in the country that you can spear. I think maybe in the world, but I know for sure in the country that you can spear a sturgeon through the ice, except for one lake in Michigan. They only give out like 6 tags, so we don't even count them.
Have you heard anybody that speared one? Did they get kicked out of pro staff?
Oh,
Shots fired.
Sturgeon spears don't really go for those kind. We're more of a PBR or maybe a Point Beer sponsored kind of group.
I just have to check my sponsor list and make sure everything's on the up and
Are
up.
we allowed to talk about this, Will?
just say hypothetically. Hypothetically,
Yeah.
we're all good.
Yeah.
Too funny. Oh my God.
So how long is that season? It's a day or something like that. It's not really long, right?
It's 14 days. There's a harvest cap, so once it hits that 20, it's around 2,500 fish. There's a certain amount of females, certain amount of males, certain amount of juveniles that have to be harvested before they close the season down. And this year, we did not even meet the harvest cap before it closed the 14 days, so it's okay. More fish for next year.
And what lake is that? Is that Winnebago?
Yes, Lake Winnebago.
What technique do you use for? I guess you have a spear, right? But
It's like a trident.
It is. You feel like Poseidon chucking that bugger down in the water.
Chucking that bugger. I'm going to replay that like 6 or 7 times. Chucking that bugger.
Is that the technical term for that?
That's what I'm going to grab that little audio clip on Clamor and just promote it out. It'd be like, the boys got me all into Wisconsin mode, apparently.
Now, my question along this line is Will and I listened to this. Will and I listened to this podcast on our way up bear hunting this year. And do you take your own advice? Do you sit in a closet and turn all the lights out and practice for this technique or not? You said about.
Please, I've been doing this enough years that I might as well, because it is really boring.
Yeah.
It is really boring. But it's only from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m., so I mean, suck it up. It's no worse than sitting in the tree stand.
Right.
Sometimes.
So you basically cut a big hole in the ice and sit there and
Yeah.
wait for a fish to swim by, huh?
6 foot by 4 foot. And you get to use chainsaws. So that's fun.
What? Tridents, chainsaws?
How do you get
I know.
Why have we not been there before now?
I've been there. I just didn't have a name for it.
How do you get a
It's
6
super fun.
Ryan calls it Saturday in the winter.
How thick's the ice?
Oh, like 18 inches, 20 inches.
So how do you get a 6 foot by 4 foot chunk of ice out of there?
You're just cutting it up.
Cutting it up into pieces.
One big
Chuck
piece.
those buggers out of the hole.
That's right.
Chuck those buggers.
I tell you what, oh my God. Cutting the hole isn't the hard part. Because then you have to push down on so you're cutting a rectangle, and you push down with poles, just like in the olden times, on the one end, so that the big ice cube flips under, and then the current takes it away.
Okay.
It subluxes.
It subluxes it underneath.
Yeah, yes.
You guys are making words up.
It subluxes that bugger right
That's a real word.
I'm just going to nod and giggle like I know what you're talking about.
We're doing the same thing. None of us know what that means either.
He said something smart sounding.
Anyway.
No, it's a lot of fun. You sit in a dark house, it's heated. I mean, the guides usually bring you Bloody Marys. So you're sitting around and you're just hoping for that sturgeon to swim by. You've got a PVC pipe down on the ground on the bottom of the lake, because you're only spearing in 12 foot of water. And as long as the visibility is decent, you can see all the way down. But that X, the PVC pipe X, kind of gives you a point of reference, because they have to be at least 36 inches, and you use a decoy to bring them in, because you can't use any organic matter, so you can't use bait or anything.
Wow.
And you just wait.
Like a sexy sturgeon.
Oh my God, I'm going to send you a picture of my decoy. She is sexy.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So, I'm flustered. I'm officially flustered.
Is that your face is a little red there, bud?
Oh my God, I'm dying. I cannot wait till next year when you guys come up.
It would be really awkward if we didn't come up.
Yeah.
After this.
We're on the hook for that.
You're like, what's wrong? Isn't my sexy decoy not working no more?
It attracted Will. Don't know about sturgeon.
Maybe we should move on from sturgeon spearing.
Will's getting all hot and bothered.
So, you're a big walleye fisherman too, right?
Fisherwoman.
Fisher person? I'm sorry.
It's fine. I am. You can call me whatever. Fisherman,
Fisher lady?
fisherwoman, fisher person. Yeah, fisher
She's
lady,
a fisherwoman that identifies as a fisherman. Jeez.
Which bathroom do you use for that?
I gotta let you tell your story. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
So walleye fishing, yeah.
Yeah, walleye.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I love walleye fishing. We don't have a boat, so I'm not very good at it. So I always have to fish from shore. But I'll chase walleyes and turkeys, and then maybe deer.
Your walleye fishing, is that in Lake Winnebago too? How far are you from there?
Oh, I'm only 30 minutes from Lake Winnebago. Okay. No, I'm more of a river fisherman. Wisconsin River, and I have an ongoing love affair for many, 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 many years. I'll fish on the Wisconsin River all day long.
Yeah, I remember my buddy out there. I remember him saying about the river that feeds into that and the white bass spawning.
Man.
Yeah, and it's a huge run, he said.
Yeah. The Wolf River and Lake Poygan, which all feed into Lake Winnebago, during the white bass run, it's insane. It's like shoulder to shoulder on shore. Plus all the boats that are packed in there.
It'd be like our steelhead and salmon run here on the Great Lakes.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Or the first day of trout season on April 15th or the 1st.
Yeah. Yes. Any trust.
Or the first day of deer hunting. Yeah. Rifle.
Yeah.
Do you fish catch and release, or do you eat your fish?
I am 100% food motivated.
Are you?
So, yes.
Nice.
That's great.
I don't want to catch carp or anything that I can't eat.
So, when you're doing all this hunting and fishing, how do you have time to do the traveling?
Well, I travel, first off, I don't have any kids. So there's that.
That helps.
That helps.
Yeah. Yeah, so I have a lot of free time. And I've been, and I've been with my company long enough to have a ton of vacation days. So
nice.
We like to travel and go places and take advantage of. We don't have any kids, so we're not leaving anything to anybody. So we're just having a good time now while we're young enough to enjoy it.
So you have a lot of people in your show that really take some pretty. Have some great stories to tell about different places where they've been. How do you decide when you're planning these trips where you're going to go?
Well, I work a lot with the visitors bureaus and stuff. As a outdoor communicator, I've made a ton of contacts. A lot of times I'll do these interviews, and in the back of my head, I'm like, ooh, I definitely need to go ice fishing up in Lake of the Woods. How have I not been up there yet? So,
can we plan that trip together as well?
Absolutely.
We were all kind of chomping at the bit for that. Yeah.
Right? I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get. How have I not been up there? So most of our trips are spawned from interviews I've done in the past.
That's awesome.
What's your favorite place to travel to?
Hawaii, hands down. And I haven't been yet, but I'd like to go turkey hunting there. It's just our happy place. We've been there 3 times, and that's probably where we're going to retire.
Oh,
and fishing, because again, no kids.
You said that's where you're hoping to complete the Grand Slam, right?
Yeah, that's where I would like to get my final. We'll see. I don't know. Every time we go, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go hunting or I'm going to go fishing, and then I never do.
Which turkey do they have there?
They have Rios. Yep. I would definitely say Hawaii is my favorite place. But you know what? Followed very closely by South Dakota. The Black Hills in South Dakota are just gorgeous. And despite the fact that I have had some shenanigans there as well, I loved hunting there, and I want to go back.
Yeah, as I said, I lived in North Dakota for a while, and they got, it's just some of the similar crusty buttes and
gorgeous. It's so cool.
Yeah, they got everything.
Like Fargo?
Yeah.
It's west of Fargo. Is if you run into it's real flat Fargo and Grand Forks, and then it kind of gets a little hilly and crusty.
Right on.
As you.
So then, did you ever fish? Did you ever fish in Devil's Lake?
I didn't. No. I wasn't at the time when I lived in Grand Forks, and I wasn't into hunting as much and fishing. I did fish. They had all kinds of little lakes and stuff like that, but I never made it to Devil's Lake. Yeah.
How what made you move?
I'm from PA originally, and I was traveling as an X-ray tech at the time, and interventional radiology tech, and all these things, and I lived there for about 3 years, and came home, roughly, basically.
So the intervention made you move back. Is that what I got out of that?
It was a big intervention.
Yeah, he had a dream of 8 awesome guys he'd be podcasting in the near future.
That's what did it.
We lured him back to their good looks.
Right. Can I just tell you guys that kudos for you guys for having this many people on a show, because I have trouble. It's like herding cats when I have more than one person on my show. I can't even imagine how much additional work it would take with 8 people. So good for you guys for taking that on and doing it successfully.
You're using the successful part loosely, but we are doing it. Yes.
Well, Carrie, just to give you a quick explanation on that. I mean, being the newest guy to the group, and I guess also, as Will pointed out, the one with the most podcasting experience. What's perfect about this group is the fact that everybody's got their own little niche, right? So we got somebody who specializes in fly fishing.
Yeah.
We got, I guess I'm the archery guy. There's a duck hunter. You know, everybody has their own little niche, right? And what's great about that aspect of it is we can go out as a group, or we could sit around a table and talk about a situation, and there's somebody with expert level knowledge, intermediate level knowledge, and somebody who's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know, and it's great. And it is,
because then they can pull back the layers a little bit for the people who are listening and are like, I don't know what language you're speaking in.
And from my perspective, the other thing I'd like to say is thank you. When you went back through and you decided to rebrand and change it to the Hunt Fish Travel podcast and really try to focus on the logistics part of it.
Yeah, I
haven't done nearly enough traveling. Nearly enough, in my opinion. Of course, if you ask other people, they say something different. But I haven't done nearly enough. But listening to your podcast, though, it's making me think of other questions to ask, right? So if I'm putting together something to maybe present to my wife as, hey, let's think about doing this. You know, you've really afforded me the opportunity to think outside of the box a little bit, you know, and ask a lot more questions when I'm trying to get in touch with people. So I just want to say thanks.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It is hard. Like, when I first started the podcast, I did it originally because I wanted to stand out, separate myself from the pack. There were a lot of bloggers at the time. There weren't a lot of podcasts. And I, of course, started, you know, The Wild World of Carrie Z, which was a hilarious name, but not very SEO friendly. So yeah, when I rebranded, I did want to take that more of the travel, because how much time do you spend when you plan a trip? How many hours do you spend planning the trip? Not just on the trip. Being on the trip is probably like an eighth of the time that you spend on a trip, really. All the logistics and all the questions. And some of these wonderful guests that I've had on, they tell me things that I'm like, I never would have thought of that. I never in a million years would have thought that. And now they have saved me so much time and grief, because I'm like, oh, yeah, don't forget to do this. Oh, yeah, don't forget you need an extra lock on that gun case or whatever. So it's been a really great journey.
Well, if you're ever planning on visiting Honduras, I definitely recommend that you listen to our Uncle Catfish vacation episode, because it's a good list of don'ts to do when planning a trip to Honduras. Several goods, but a lot of don'ts.
He should just come on the Hunt Fish Travel podcast and tell me all about it.
That would be fantastic.
Yes. I would love that.
You say when, Carrie, I'll be up.
Oh, he just...
Right.
Oh, Uncle Catfish just showed up. What?
Carrie, I got a small thing that you need to remember. Ready?
Okay.
Vestika to be, Rosia, you beat Medved. It's Russian for I will meet you in Russia to kill the bear. I heard your podcast. In the fly-in helicopter trip to kill one of the massive coastal bears in Alaska.
So do you know that that's like my ultimate bucket list trip, and my girlfriend just got to go last year?
No, I never heard that before at all.
Just lucky guess.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing bucket list that you have.
Seriously.
And if you need somebody to learn to fly the helicopter for you, I will.
All right.
I know I can get it off the ground. I'm not sure I can land it. But if worse comes to worse, we will just crash it on the bear. And we'll be all right.
Right? You can just hover, and I'll just like chuck spears at it. I'll chuck my sturgeon spear at it.
We'll throw a sexy sturgeon at it.
Sexy sturgeon.
Then they're like, wow, I didn't know this chick was such a badass.
Sturgeon bear fishing, it puts a whole new spin on it.
It makes perfect sense.
Or bear sturgeon fishing.
Oh, my God.
See, Sean, there is bear fishing out there. See,
Sean.
Oh, my God, you guys are hilarious.
You've not graduated to epic badass unless you knocked a brown bear out with a sturgeon.
You may
that
be
is an elite Chuck Norris of hunting.
Yeah, you may be cool, but you're not Carrie Z cool.
You're not Carrie Z knocking out a brown bear with a sturgeon. Cool.
So did you? I don't know if you caught that, but caught this. But when I crossed into Canada into New Brunswick,
we had a little hang up at customs.
The guard was, the border guard was like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, bear fishing.
What?
Yeah. What?
Oh my gosh.
I should have been like, you heard me.
But instead he said, you guys pull over there. We need to check some things.
Well, we were going on our bear hunt, and we had our fly rods and all. We were so ready for everything that New Brunswick had to offer, and bear fishing was what came out of my mouth.
That is so funny.
So don't say bear
Like,
fishing
those
when
damn
you're in Canada.
Americans. No. Oh my gosh. I don't think I've laughed this hard in a long time.
Good. Glad we could help.
Yeah, a night with R2.
I know, right?
If there's anything we're good at, it's making the ladies laugh.
Oh my God.
So, I guess we're probably ready to wrap this up. Unfortunately, I can't believe how quick this thing's going. So,
I know.
one last question for you, Carrie. Based on everything that you've done and the way that the Hunt, Fish, Travel podcast is going, what I'd like to know is what's next for you. Where are you heading to next? And that could be both literally and figuratively.
Yeah. Well, I am going to be focusing a little more on the travel industry a little bit. I'm going to pull back. I am pulling back a little bit from the hunting industry. Instead of doing a weekly show, in case you haven't noticed in the last couple of months, it's an every other week show, which is okay because people change and they evolve and they grow. And I'm coming up on 5 years, and that's a lot of years to be doing a hunting podcast by myself.
Yep.
So I'm going to be starting another podcast, strictly travel, but I'm still going to be doing the Hunt, Fish, Travel on the side. So it's just going to go down to an every other week show, which I think is okay. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people, and I don't know, sometimes coming up with new guests is kind of tough sometimes.
It is. I have a YouTube channel, and that's the hardest thing is coming up with new content all the time. To be at it for 5 years, I can only imagine what you got.
I know, because I did like 3 ice fishing episodes in a row, and I'm like, oh my God, people are going to be like, all right, yeah, we get it. You want to go ice fishing. Can we talk about something else now?
Yep.
Yeah, but there's new people like us. There's new people like us every year, so.
I know. Yeah. I know, because the show is still growing. Even though I went down to an every other week, the download numbers, they continue to increase. So it's not like it's going to go anywhere.
Nice.
Yeah.
So.
That's all good stuff.
Wait till you see your numbers after this week.
Boom.
I'm stealing all of your listeners.
Keep an eye on your Instagram posts.
We're going to go intergalactic.
You'll just be cursing.
Right.
We can guarantee you an upwards of 3 new listeners.
That's all I ask for. I can't ask for anything
Get
more.
ready. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No, I am looking forward. Whatever the future brings, I'm always going to have my toe in the hunting industry. So.
Hey, we have somebody just came in the room here. They another R2 guy
First-time caller, long-time
wants
listener.
to say hi, Uncle Buck.
Good evening, Carrie. This is Uncle Buck here. How you doing?
Hello, Uncle Buck. How are you?
Very good. They call me the blind shaman every once in a while, but I'm a flatlander from long ago. if that's a familiar term for you.
Yeah.
I'm not used to the land of the bubblers.
That's awesome.
I grew up in Chicago, many trips up to Wisconsin, and I just want to thank you for doing what you do. You remind me of home. You remind me of what I longed as a young man to start, what these guys around this table have enabled me to do now in Pennsylvania. And now I want to come back and do it in your backyard again where I grew up. Maybe you can help me get one of those muskies up there that I've,
right?
Yeah, I would love to get up there. I remember going to Hayward and taking pictures in front of that big old Muskie statue up there at the museum. Or isn't that like the Muskie Hall of Fame or something up in Hayward, Wisconsin, I believe?
Hayward, Wisconsin, Muskie capital of the world.
I defer now, but I just wanted to say keep up the hard work. Thank you for bringing a little bit of the Midwest out east for me. And for those people out there that don't know how to get more of Carrie Z and Hunt Fish Travel, how can people consume more of what you have to offer?
Hey, that sounded so dirty. Oh my God.
Well, he does that.
Well, I have a habit of doing that.
That was awesome. No, you can find the Hunt Fish Travel on iTunes. You can find it on Stitcher Radio or any podcast app that you use to listen to podcasts. Just search for Hunt Fish Travel, all one word. You can always go to huntfishtravel.net. You can find me on any social media channel, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, well, everywhere. Just search for Carrie Zylka, CarrieZylka.
Awesome. You're everywhere. Carrie, I
am, literally.
I have one more question for you.
Sure.
I mean, I know you grew up with a hunting background, but what advice would you give to some of the ladies out there that may be thinking about getting into hunting or just kind of are looking to get their feet wet? What advice would you give to them so that way they're not as intimidated by a generally male-dominated industry?
My advice is get off your ass and do it alone, because then there's nobody to laugh at you. There's no one to tell you what to do. There's no one to tell you that you're doing it wrong. You can fall down 5 times and there's nobody to see you. Just get up and go by yourself. You'll have a blast.
Girl power.
Right? I'm telling you. Yeah, just do it. Just get up and do it.
All right.
Advice.
All right, Carrie. Thank you so much. I mean, it's been 100% our pleasure.
Thank you.
I don't know if you can tell if you tolerate. Thanks for tolerating us. Basically,
This has been so much fun. I can't even explain to you how much of a fun time I've had on this interview.
If you ever get to Pennsylvania, please make sure to look us up.
I definitely will.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on, you guys.
Yep.
Our pleasure.
So where can they find us, everybody?
All right. So don't forget to check us out. That's at www.ruttenriverpursuit.com. There you'll be able to find all the information you need to listen and subscribe through iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Yeah. Follow us as a group. And from there, branch off and start following everybody individually. You'll be able to keep up with everybody, see what's going on.
Except for Stevie, because he doesn't really post a lot.
But make sure you like a bunch of pictures on Instagram so that way we can shout out.
Then we'll shout you out. Don't forget to do that.
Okay.
And if you're feeling real crazy, go ahead and leave us a rating on iTunes or any of the other podcast networks.
And if you've flown a helicopter into a bear with a sturgeon, we want you on the show next week.
I want their number. I want their number.
Thanks, Carrie.
Thanks, Carrie.
Thanks, Carrie.
See you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Later, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Rut and River Pursuits podcast. Follow the R2 Pro staff by searching Rut and River Pursuits on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Until the next episode, we need to see you in the outdoors.